Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ. I am your host, DBJ, and today I am also your representative for a conspiracy theory that may have naturally come about. We're going to talk about the dead internet theory. Of course, we are a tabletop role playing niche place where we talk about these kind of things. And I'm going to take the position of making the argument that this may not be totally wrong, but it may not be a conspiracy in the classic sense of one overriding bad actor. But because we're doing world building, we're going to delve into different types of conspiracies that lead to the same event and how we can use that for our creative world building experience. Like, maybe it's a little bit dangerous to encourage conspiracy theories, but I think we can go down the exact same toilet bowl spiral, as it will, for the dead internet theory and how it came about and what conditions could lead to such a thing, and then where can we go with that, especially if you want to incorporate that. Maybe you're writing a novel, or you're doing a tabletop role-playing game, or you're wondering, like, could I even use this in a sci-fi game? I don't know. So anyway, we need to have an introduction to allow us to take our bio breaks, get our snacks, put our feet up and whatnot. So let's do that first, and then come back to the dead internet theory and using that for world building. So, the dead internet theory. What is the dead internet theory? And I think we can come from this from different anecdotal positions in which the internet doesn't seem like it used to be. So let's go back in time a little bit. Those of us that are old grognards remember the internet at a point where we were surprised when it was brand new that different places had websites attached to it. So if you wanted to buy Nike sneakers, suddenly Nike started having their own websites. And it went from places where people had chats to a business enterprise. And suddenly we started seeing websites pop up of people having their own blogs, and there was internet traffic for buying and selling products and goods. And then we had the internet set up about people's personal lives on not necessarily social media in the way we're thinking about it today, but it was the MySpace blog era. Like, hey, I like to talk about knitting. I like to talk about I don't know, surfing, and we saw these kind of things. And there was this wonder of the internet, of it being filled with creatives and people having opinions about things and brand new businesses popping up. And it felt like it was organic, that individuals would organically, originally, for good or bad, quality wise or not, put out their own opinions about things. And it was a place where, similar to the old classic paper yellow pages and white pages books, when we used to make phone calls, we had like government websites, and we had business websites over this one side, and then we had blog posts in another place for website, and then we had video in another place, and it was this mishmash, and you could go to all these places. But it's weird now, because when you so-called surf the internet, it's like the uncanny valley, where you can almost tell that the places you go on the internet there aren't human hands, or very little human hands, in creating it. Sites start looking the same, sounding the same. search engines now are like, right now I did a thing where I went to search for the dead internet theory, and it gave me an AI curated. The first thing it did is gave me an AI curated reasoning behind it, and I'm like, no, I want to find out what other people have to say about it. And it's like it's purposefully not giving me that, or it's lending me to a place where the bots have chosen to show me what's available. And now you have to dig deeper. Are there like literary papers attached to this, and things like that? Yeah, and the reasons why, right? And I think some of the reasons why the dead internet conspiracy theory exists come from different positions, because there's a lot of anecdotal evidence. Spook says, I don't think we're at dead internet theory yet, but we're heading there. It's a common result when we let corporations start profiting from public spaces. Exactly. And the thing is that, like, ye old search engines, you used to be able to type in a search parameter. Basically, all the words you would type in, the search engines would look for those words or phrases and look for them in internets. The problem is, like, instead of your top 5 now, because of algorithms, they can get your top 500 results, and those top 500 results may have paid to be a result from what you searched for. And that can be pretty dangerous, because the people who you really want to listen for can be buried behind the noise that the internet or your search parameter or corporate entity or whatever wants you to listen to. Also, going deeper into the conspiracy theory is that some of these places may not exist anymore that you're searching for, and that generative AI is creating fake websites in the background to fill the internet up, because the other things, the other archived locations that we remember that used to be there aren't there anymore, and that they're using generative AI to make it seem like the internet is bigger than it is, but it isn't. Now, here's some other reasons why the dead internet theory would seem real, and that is that we're being inundated by generative AI all the time now. I remember we had a discussion about how, like, AI is learning from other AI. They're just all talking to each other. They're all bots. It's all fake. And how generative images, generative information, how scientists are getting pissed off that fake and incorrect information is being perpetrated through theoretical dissertations, and that the generative AI part of it is like it's getting absorbed like a sponge, even though the real people, the real scientists that have an investment in keeping the information pure, can't keep it out. There's even a legal precedent now where law firms are using fake legal precedents to argue for their position, and they're using fake arguments, and they're seeping into the legal system as a real thing, because other people are now having access, because their AI system is having access to this erroneous legal precedent, and it's starting to seep into the system. And now we see this with art, we see this with articles, and of course a lot of this is tapping into our dopamine. So people see, I don't know, the person that they dislike, what a political figure, a famous person or something like that, someone from a different country or whatever, and there's like this pretty ridiculous AI image with some kind of like clickbaity title on it or something like that, and then people are like, yeah, even though they don't believe it, right? Like, a human up against a bear, or like an alien, with boxing gloves up against their, political person to politically dislike, and they're just like, click, I like this because it looks funny and dumb and whatnot, and then that starts to spread, and then the deep faking is real, and starting to turn from fake to real because people believe in it. We talked the other day about how the most ridiculous AI images and clickbaity titles are out there, and people are still commenting below, is this real? You're like, wait, what? So let me give you an anecdotal evidence of a dead internet that I come across on a daily basis. So on our phones, we have a feed. Sometimes you'll get a feed from news, from businesses, and things like that. And now I can't get away from clothing apps and stores that have constantly changing names, but the same material in those stores. So there are AI generated men and women, mostly men, that are modeling the clothing, and I'm like, yeah, no, oh, that's interesting, no. And the business names keep changing up. A new business name will come up in another week or two. I'll have like 3 or 4 of the same brands of sorts, and even the AI images are being shared with the same guys with the beefy forearms and slightly glazed bodies with some sleeve tattoos on it, showing off like short sleeve shirts and matching short sets and whatnot. And I'm like, there's been like 40, 50 different companies, all different names. And I'm like, but it looks exactly the same. Where are these businesses coming from? They can't all be selling the exact same thing. And it's like, well, maybe they are or whatever. And it's just, it's completely anecdotal, but it's just kind of funny how if my eye lingers too long on that thing, I'll get 50 copies of that exact same article or same AI imagery for selling something, and it's just a different name, same business, different name. And now, mind you, theoretically, it's probably not the same business, but maybe all of these different businesses, which may or may not be real, are using the exact same imagery given to them by the AI, because it's like, oh, this is interesting because people like it. And the person creating the business shrugs and is like, well, it's the one that keeps getting the most attention. And so there's this feedback loop. I know I am rambling on about a dead internet, but various individuals who think of a dead internet are thinking like, I'm going to use a story from, I believe it was in the 80s. Yes, 1981 of sorts, that before the internet. And I'm going to use this as an example of how a conspiracy can take hold without a progenitor happening along the way. And so here's an example. And it comes from a hometown too. So rest assured, a little bit is a pat on the back from my hometown. All right. So Joseph William Coyle, born 1953, passed away in 1993, was an unemployed longshoreman in Philadelphia who, in February 1981, and you'll probably remember this, or at least remember the movie maybe, found $1.2 million in the street after it had fallen out of the back of an armored car and kept it. Coyle kept the money, which was from casino earnings and virtually untraceable. This incident became a well-known Philadelphia story depicted in the film Money for Nothing, starring John Cusack, and the book Finders Keepers by Mark Bowden. Coyle was eventually arrested, charged with theft, and ultimately acquitted after his lawyer argued temporary insanity due to the shock of finding so much money. And what does that have to do with a conspiracy that wasn't a conspiracy that exists that isn't perpetrated by someone else? And here's the idea. The internet allowed various entities, individuals, governments, corporations, Yeah, drop shipping scams. Yep. Spook. Oh yeah. Um, and well organized too. Corporations, governments, bad actors, hackers, whatever have you. And it it left a space where I believe it's not one conspiracy person sitting in a dark room or with a cloak on in front of a computer tapping away going ha ha ha, I'm going to click this switch to make something happen. It's the idea that once there's an opening, people can take advantage of an opening, and then collectively it seems like a conspiracy run by one organization because everybody wants the conspiracy to continue. The idea that like money, and the reason why I brought up the idea of money falling out of a Brinks truck or armored car, not Brinks, but whatever, armored car, and the person steals the money and everybody's in on it, and then the public is like, yeah, I keep it and all this kind of stuff, is the fact that if there's an opening and someone takes it and everyone looks around and goes, yeah, I'd probably do it, or yeah, that makes sense that someone would do that, and then other people come along and go, they're scratching their heads and like, there's a big giant gap here that someone can take advantage of, and then governments and organizations and factions and individual bad actors and all those kind of people look at it and go, oh, shit, since nobody's closing up this gap, I think I'll dive into it as well, and there's nothing stopping it. Right? Like right now, the big one is AI. Many people thought this was happening before AI started, but that the internet itself isn't made up of a bunch of us, billions and billions of people coming up with billions of ideas, and it's just generating that. Instead, what they're saying is archived data is being overwritten, deleted, removed, doesn't exist any longer, and instead, what's happening behind it is generative information to make us believe that the internet does have all of these archives, so that even if I take an article, let's say a news article, and I'm suspicious of the news article, and I go, you know what, I don't believe this. Let me go see where they got their information from. And if I deep dive long enough, my mind will tell me, well, I've gotten enough accurate information to say, I've checked 37 different websites. Each of them have, attributions and came from 37 years ago. And oh, yes, now I believe the article. And some are saying, even my deep dive itself is being generated behind the scenes, overwriting or replacing or taking the place of all those archive data, which is real information, and being replaced with fake information. And unfortunately, we are seeing an era where medical information, scientific information, legal information, corporate status, and things like that are being generated knowing there's hallucinations in it, and then being used as fact to back up other things. So it's not imagine yourself someone, the thumbnail's ugly, I get it. But imagine yourself as someone with a mask on, and we go, you know what, if I unmask this person, Mission Impossible style, if I unmask them, I'll find out the truth. But imagine the masked individual has like 7 masks on, and you unmask them, and you go, still don't believe you, and you unmask them, I still don't believe you, unmask them again, and you go, all right, well, I guess that's true, and you stop, and it's like underneath the mask is the lie, which is the removing another mask, which is another lie, and that's where the dead internet theory comes from, and that's pretty insidious, and kind of easy to do in many ways. Cats wearing suit and ties is kind of funny as they make soup and do acrobatics and lift weights, little babies lifting weights and all this other kind of stuff, and that's silly. But it's not very hard for these AI systems to, like YouTube, for example, is being inundated with, AI accounts, and they're producing more music, more videos, more content. They're what's the big one? The let's see if I can find it here. Uses Den. So YouTube Fake interview self-help. Is it called? And I'll show one of these. I don't know if you guys have seen this, and this is another idea of like the dead internet idea coming up. So Denzel Washington did not voice any of this, but there's like several YouTube channels feature self-help content attributed to Denzel Washington, often in the form of motivational speeches or discussions about relationships and personal growth. Important note, a significant number of these videos use a synthesized AI voice that is not Denzel Washington's actual voice. The channels themselves often include disclaimers stating that they are not officially affiliated with him. Right. These videos are typically created for motivational or educational purposes, drawing inspiration from Denzel Washington's known teachings and advice, but they are not his direct endorsements or interviews. Examples of topics covered in these videos include identifying fake people, self-improvement, overcoming adversity, relationship advice, focusing on oneself. But the videos, it's crucial to be aware of the following as AI-generated content, no official affiliation, disclaimers, and viewer discretion advised. And yet these I think it's one of them is called like growth mindset. There we go. Yeah, let's go to this. See if we can find this, and I'll share it out. So there it is. Yep, I'm coming to your comment there, Mike, and everybody else. Like Mike says, when I think of dead internet, I think of Blade Runner and Minority Report. All interaction was advertising and identity theft. Yeah. Yep. This is agree. Information now requires scrutiny, critical thinking, and cross-checking. Yet there's enough siloing to guarantee that misinformation gets promoted by untrustworthy sources. Exactly, because even to keep you siloed, now we are seeing that even the places that they're getting the information from is also being generated. You know what I mean? Max Headroom. I don't know if there's Max Headroom out there. Let me show you this. So, or let me share this out to you a little bit. So this is the motivation, inspire, encourage, whatever, right? The Growth Mindset channel, and the Growth Mindset channel, it has 250,000 subscribers and 340 videos of voiceovers from Denzel Washington that isn't supposed to be Denzel Washington. Let me see if it says purpose and growth mindset. Let's see if I can find. We are excited to share secrets which will encourage, teach, and bring out the best in you. We're dedicated to provide you with value. This channel is built on a foundation of love and concern. Our content is original in all speech written and spoken by Growth Mindset. Even the background sounds we use are original work of Growth Mindset channel. Subscribe to our channel. I don't see a disclaimer. I don't see, hey, this was AI, specifically, this was AI generated using the voice of an individual that didn't attribute itself to it. And 6,000 views, 32,000 views, so on and so forth. 340 videos. Popular videos. Let's go here. See how many videos they have up. Here we go. An image of Denzel's voice, and all this created video, thumbnail, how he manipulated 340 million people. Why some Americans will die poor, zip your mouth, stay silent, let karma work, all these kind of things. All click, 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 click. I love Denzel. It's his voice. It's got to be real. None of this is real, right? And even in the image, they just copy and pasted his face. It wasn't like they didn't even bother making like an AI version of it, like talking and speaking at the exact same time. It's crazy. And these kind of videos, you go down a rabbit hole of those kind of video websites now, and it's crazy. Given the nature of politics, it's just as likely AI Denzel could run for president. Yep. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so world building. Because we could go down a rabbit hole of like how terrible this is or whatnot. I think in world building, you could absolutely have the idea that people are being manipulated by the cavities, the empty spaces left in an information society, and the people are being, we could go the classic governmental, they're being told what to do, 1984, and the player characters are understanding, in your tabletop role-playing game, they know the truth, they're given the truth, the public doesn't believe that truth, and to the point where they don't believe their eyes, right? And that can go pretty deep, because human beings, if our brains are, we have the ability to disbelieve reality, and once an authority or something is telling us that something is not available. And so that can be very, very, very easy. If we don't want to make it very complicated. We have an authoritarian government of some sort, governing body, and they're lying to the population, and the players have to navigate through this world where they know everything around them is being told that is a lie. TA, hey, yeah, don't go too far. Don't blast off, TA. Hold back just a little bit. Mike says the film industry leans into CGI so hard now, it's also just as likely that we're 10 years away from, 0 living actors in movies and just AI generated mayonnaise filming. Yep. Yeah. And there's been a lawsuit by Scarlett Johansson, or Johansson, from the movie Her, where she portrays a character in the movie Her. Synopsis: it's a near future movie where a gentleman goes into a store, he's feeling a little despondent, and he purchases an OS, an operating system that's downloaded on his phone, and he eventually starts to have an intimate and eventually romantic relationship of sorts with his operating system, and it's voiced by Scarlett Johansson. There was an original actress that did the voiceover. All of the voice was then recontextualized by the performances of Scarlett Johansson, and she specifically told them, if you want to do edits on the voice, call me in. I'm available to do voice editing. And instead, they used manipulation of her voice to get her voice to sound different and to say certain things that she hadn't said, and she didn't want her voice being used artificially. And so she had a lawsuit against it, because it's the slippery slope. Do you change the word and get rid of the D and just make it and? Do you stitch together other words she said and just use it in the editing room? Do you use AI to copy the voice and tone and get a different actress to come in and do her? It's a whole big thing. And the slippery slope argument could be made because we already see the slope getting slippery, right? And we understand that sometimes, the slippery slope argument can be a little bit, can be a little bit doom and gloom, but yeah. So, but how can we make this more interesting in a sci-fi kind of way? Well, yeah, Denzel would make a great president. I think he could slot into like the old Morgan Freeman location as like playing a president, playing God, stuff like that. I think he's that good. He's up there in an age too where Denzel being an action star, maybe not, but like an elder statesman type of actor, I think he would fit in perfectly with that. He's got a bit. It's hard for him to get out of his like New York frame of his acting style has a lot of that New York essence to it that I really think he's almost playing himself nowadays. But yeah, I haven't seen that. I have been. I mean, there's some funny. What is it? The interviewer interviewing. The blog posts of the AI videos where it's like stormtroopers are posting up a blog. They're doing like a live stream Instagram kind of thing. Another one is like interviewing the Game of Thrones characters with someone doing like a man on the street kind of thing. Some of it's pretty ridiculous and funny, but it's like, yeah, there weren't real people using it. Skeleton Crew. I haven't seen Skeleton Crew. Mike says, anyone here miss out on Skeleton Crew? For those that saw it, there's a reference to a synthetic leadership personality which heads an authoritarian shit. My pronunciation is going off. Government. Authoritarian government. Whoop, my tongue. Recent actor strike was to help AI actors. Here's hoping that holds up. Yep. Yeah. You know what'll happen? Someone will create a viable AI actor, actress, voice, whatever. They'll do it breaking the rules. And if they make more money than any lawsuits attached to it, they'll keep doing it. It'll be a loss. It'll be a known loss that they'll just accept. It's kind of like Fight Club, right? The Fight Club reasoning. I work for an auto manufacturer, unnamed in movie, that will not recall a known problem with the car if the math of the lawsuits is less than it would take to repair the problem, right? Same thing, I think, with AI systems. If they can produce lucrative movies and then on the back end pay the lawsuits out, and it's less than the amount of hundreds of millions or billions they'll make off the movies, they'll just do it. I think they'll do it. We need one bad actor and everybody else will go, well, if it's only going to cost us $400 million and we can make $7.8 billion, small price to pay. TA says it's almost like AI is going to take the place of doing things for humor. Yeah, making fun of things for being stereotypical. Yep, which is pretty fun and common in humor, which is what it used to be, making fun of it being so stupidly cliche and wrong. Yeah. But now people assume it's meant to make fun of the group rather than having fun laughing with the group over how stupid and wrong it was. Exactly. It's like South Park. Yeah. Celebrity Mario Kart. Yeah, Will Smith eating spaghetti. Yeah. The most tremendous man in the world is making fun of Trump, like how he tells his bathroom mirror it's fake news in the morning. Yep. There's a Black Mirror episode about an AI holographic entertainer which echoes loud now. I agree. There's whole websites producing like albums and things like that. Hundreds of albums within the past year or two, and it's crazy. It is absolutely crazy. I wonder if YouTube will even let me search for it. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see if I can find any. I don't want to make albums. I want to. Let's see if I can find any of this stuff. I'll just share this out. It's not what I was looking for, but I think you guys get the point. This is an example of like a dead internet where So this is all like, I just searched in, I just typed in AI album video channels, and a lot of this is how you can make your own. How you could by the way, of course, this thumbnail, Taylor Swift and Will Smith eating spaghetti isn't real. AI made this. How to make AI music videos for Suno. AI music videos. Blah blah blah. And it goes on and on. Copy and paste. Kids videos. Kids music video. $930 a day. Because you can just create slop. Monetize with AI. Make a YouTube channel, AI music channel. Make money in YouTube from AI music. Suno, can you upload? VO. Yeah, AI isn't the problem, it's our ethics. Yep. And it just goes on and on and on. You guys get the point. It'll just keep going on and on and on. Here's 2 million views 3 months ago. Here we go. Orange cat AI with a baby. Is this real? Is it? I mean, this. Does anybody know if this is real? Are they training cats to? Seriously, people? 2 million views. Here's a popular YouTuber. AI generated music is wild. He gets 2.7 million views. He's got a huge channel. And Marquise MK, shit, I can't remember the name of the channels he has. But you get the point. How to make videos with Leonardo, Suno, Sora, shit, VO3, blah, 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 blah. All these things are out there. And a lot of them are like curated to get as much of our, I mean, how many young dudes are not going to click on that image, right? Perfect skin, semi-moist, face, you know what I mean? Like, something that looks hip-hop-ish, cool. Lo-fi, because I'm a introvert. AI singer, slightly tossed hair, sun-kissed skin, perfectly curated. Anyway, now I want a hard segue here. Get in your comments, and we're gonna start. We're gonna world build here. I know I waste a lot of time, but whatever. Basically, anything human would not do because it could be hazardous, whether it is to our bodies from physical dangers or reputations due to drama dangers. So you think AI might be used for those things? TA says, my point is you can't cancel an AI like a person. So I can see it taking up many crude jokes while also taking up jobs like nuclear cleanup that will kill flesh and blood AI that we think are not AI. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Taking the place where humans wouldn't be, or like producing music or videos or things like that where the AI won't suffer loss of social status or money or anything because of the things they've said or done. I could see that. In sci-fi, we've gone from revolutions over robot rights to fear that an intelligent program will destroy the world. We've gone from workers' rights, dignity, and humanity to Armageddon. I agree. It's almost universally dystopian, and we really, it's very difficult. I mean, Star Trek has this problem right now where human beings can't even accept a fictional world that's a utopia. Dystopian worlds, we're like, oh, that's around the corner, no matter how dystopian it is, right? Like Cyberdyne systems and Skynet that I bring up all the time. People are like, oh yeah, tank treads running over mountains of human skulls, that makes a lot of sense. But a world where people work together and there's no cash and the economy is gone and people just work for other people's good merits, or like, that's impossible. There's no way that's possible. It's crazy. So I think with the dead internet theory, because it is a little dystopian, is I think it would be interesting to have different factions or habitats or city states or what have you, all of them embedded in their own philosophies, with the players hop, skipping, and jumping around this world, whatever that world might be. Maybe it's city states on Earth, or a intergalactic empire, or a number of space habs orbiting a gas giant, or something like that, right? A bunch of moons that are in a binary star system, whatever. And the players have to navigate these strange social realms because every place thinks something different. And the players are, it's because the classic Star Trek episodes basically are what we're talking about with Dead Internet. The Star Trek crew goes to a different planet, they encounter a different culture, and they have to like stop rolling their eyes and slapping their foreheads when the aliens are just like you're our enemy and we need to destroy you. And the Star Trek crew is like, oh my God, okay, listen, whatever happened was 1,000 years ago in your own culture. We're different. We're just here to try to talk to you. That's what our enemy would say. And they're just like, you can see them just collectively rolling their eyes like, we need starship fuel. We got to talk to these people. They're friggin' assholes, right? I mean, they put on a good face, but essentially the core of Star Trek was, let's go to different places that are a reflection of humanity. We're going to call them aliens, and they have a thought pattern that is so entrenched, and we need to figure out how to deal with that entrenchment. Now, of course, it's mixed in there with like longer storylines and continuations and pure thought experiments and things like that. But there's a lot of cultures out there that Star Trek, the Star Trek global intergalactic empire has, that are basically human beings that are entrenched in a way of thought and they can't get out of it. Hey, here's an episode where we're going to kill 30% of the population because we've analyzed that that's how many people would die in a conflict, and we need volunteers, is like a big one from the old school thing. Mike says, I think the biggest concern is that software is getting smarter while the general population is getting dumber. And we tend to point the finger at other people because of that, whereas we don't tend to look at ourselves as becoming willingly dumber, and that we are embracing the dumbness, right? There has to be something said for the person who thinks all other avenues to solve a problem are gone, and I'm going to pick up a firearm and explosives, spend my own money, time, and energy to murder, kill other people in a public forum, and think that's a rational answer to solve a problem. Right? The people who are doing these things have rationalized themselves into a corner. Like, no, this makes a lot of sense. That's how far we've come. And we're creating those on a daily basis. And everyone's like, I'm not the crazy one. Those people are, Most of Wholesale Ted YouTube channel videos are on how to use AI to create designs for real world sales, like labels for candles or t-shirt designs and such, which is fine. I'm not debating that those things don't exist for legitimate reasons, right? Okay, I agree with that. There has always been a lot of people who assume the news from the mainstream media is bullshit. Do you think the proliferation of AI-generated content will make everybody skeptical of like MSM and other places like that? Yeah, they're already doing that. Everyone thinks that their news source is the one true, right? Capital One, capital capital O, capital T, the one true. Everybody thinks that. Everybody else is fake. My news source is real. It's like, well, how did you get to that rationalization? Because they probably told you. And I don't care what news source it is. Every news source considers itself to be the one true. And so people are already siloing themselves out. As a matter of fact, I had And I still have family members who keep the news on in the background like a cult, constantly playing the same thing over and over again. And it's like, oh my God. Like, I don't care if I agree with it or not. Could you shut that off? That looks like Alien from the video blogs made using AI as if it were Bigfoot vlogging. Yeah, Bigfoot vlogging. Yeah. To be fair, they just missed the step where it's simulating being alive, but it's just algorithms that are only fighting money, dollar signs, life, because it is trained on reactions of humans that are fighting for their lives. Yeah, algorithms. That's the algorithms are trained on our attention. So the algorithm then gives us what our attention is looking for. So there is a feedback loop to it. It's not just random. Like, today, how many double digits in years have we been complaining about clickbait? And clickbait works, period. There is no argument that clickbait works. There is no we need to stop doing clickbait, because clickbait works. It works. People will read a title of an article, and that's all they need. You could literally have blank articles with clickbait titles, and I guarantee you people will spread that without bothering to read them. I bet far less people read things that have been shared than a little bit, right? And that's all you need. So clickbait works because people are baited by the click. They're baited to click. Data in Star Trek is, not data. Data in Star Trek is far more advanced of computer hardware than we have seen in whole data centers. But it's not so easy to explain this, since they didn't have whole data centers of Tesla NVIDIA cards yet. Yeah, I'm in the Ohio Valley, and we're turning into like Silicon Valley 2.0. They are super expanding data centers here, building them, and we're having all the issues, social, governmental, economic, about the data centers, where their power is coming from, who's it going to benefit? Are these going to be enclosed, meaning like the general public won't know what's going on? Will they be exclosed, meaning like their data is going to leak out, and then we can start making businesses in and around those centers and things like that? I don't know. It's a whole big thing. And we already have an old power grid where we're borrowing or buying energy from like Pennsylvania and Tennessee and Illinois and places like that. Spook says, I'm not going to say people are getting dumber. I think they are exhausted and abandoning critical thinking. It can be, when you're just like myself, like I brought up the idea of like looking through ads of men's clothing and being inundated, like it can be exhausting to have to critically think the smallest things in the world. And so I agree. There is a bit of a simplicity of like, look, all I want to do is buy a shirt. And, yes, I might get inundated by 35 different companies selling the exact same products. But if I just want a shirt, I'm going to probably pick one of those, get my shirt, and be done with it, right? Without having, and it can be exhausting. Like, where does this company come from? Is it the same company with 35 different labels? Is it 35 different companies all using the same AI generated materials from the same algorithmic company that says this is how you sell your goods and services? Because we've got 5.8 million people looking at this all the time, and they're constantly clicking on it, like me, I don't know. And I think another way of looking at a dead internet that might be different, tabletop role-playing wise, is what if the population knows what's going on and they approve of that thing, right? You have an AI system that goes like, listen, the AI system is like, I'm going to curtail all the information you need for your survival. And everyone goes, yep, we don't care. Just keep us alive and we're done. And the AI system's like, fine, that's cool. And it starts eroding away at their ethics and morality. And when someone comes in and goes, you need to stop, and they go, well, we really don't care. I often I've heard this term before, not term, but theory before, and it might be true. It's the equivalent of humans not knowing phone numbers any longer, but we know where to find them on our phone. It could be that we start our creativity, our ingenuity, our ability to investigate, to question things. We start offloading that labor, that mental labor, digitally, so it does it for us, right? I don't need to know how to write a book or form an email or respond because of birthdays or anything. I'm going to offload that to my algorithm. Now, at the same time, our phone like our I'm just going to hold up a rant. This is a extra 1 terabyte backup thing that I have. Anyway, I got a bunch of sci-fi stuff on it, but I might offload my data into my mental state into this, so that my brain can relax a little bit, and I've offloaded into this. So this might represent my motivation to, I don't know, engage in needlepoint, right? And right now I'm not thinking about needlepoint, but this is engaging enough for me, and then I can place that aside. And I think we're offloading that mental labor. I think that's kind of what we're doing. I don't need to remember phone numbers. I just need to remember where to find them. And then after a while, I can just say, get my AI, could you contact all the people on my contacts list? And when their birthdays come up, send them a birthday card, something that that I would like. Send it to them. And it goes, sure. TA says, I was pointing out that I found it interesting, though. The one channel I latched onto teaching how to use AI was one about making stuff that people can buy and have. Yeah. There's a pretty easy way to teach how to use AI systems right now. Maybe in the next year, it would probably be too old, but for right now, I can tell you how to do that. Though I envisioned it as a way to turn role-playing sessions into full-blown FX movies. Yeah. Yep. Mike says, embracing ignorance is easy. You just need to accept whatever you're told instead of thinking about the information. Exactly. Convenience has become everything. It's easier to accept and move on. It's also dangerous. And, when it affects other people, like, for example, here in the States, I'm going to get political. There's a huge push about illegal immigration, right? And no one is talking about the illegal immigrants from people who have fairer skin. Everybody's an illegal immigrant from a place with darker skin tones. You ever notice that? No one is being deported because they're from Canada or France or Germany or the UK or Sweden, or no one's harassing them because their green cards but everybody's from Mexico, Venezuela, the Caribbean, African states. Like, there's no push. I don't see anybody going like, and it's ignorant hypocrisy, right? If you're someone who's like, I don't want illegal immigration at all, okay, I may not agree with you in different ways. If you're just like hardcore line in the sand, I don't want it to exist at all, and you're like, okay, that's your stance, then why are you picking and choosing which people get to leave and stay? Because I don't see anybody going like, if you are not an American citizen of any country, you can't be here. And I don't see people doing that. It's easy to otherize other people. It's easy to go, those people don't think the way I do, believe the way I do, they don't look the way I am, they don't eat the foods I have. Oh, great, they're others. Yeah, I don't see that at all. It's like my hypocrisy about things, why I call other people hypocrites, is even their own hypocrisy doesn't accept the fact of what they're saying, and even they can't see that themselves. It's like the hypocrisy of gender fluid people in bathrooms. And I'm going, so you don't mind specific heterosexual individuals being pervs in bathrooms? It's only people who are gender fluid? That doesn't make any sense. Why would, if you're against pervs in bathrooms, then you should be against pervs in bathrooms of any sort. But oh well, I consider myself a hetero cis male. I guess I'm not going to be arrested, right? That's ridiculous. It's those things just piss me off. It's so easy to poke holes in hypocrisy today, and it's like those people are just like, no. CNN once ran a filler story breaking down how rich Harry Potter was based on some conversation method of magic money to real money. Turning off 24-hour news channels is never a bad idea. Yeah, because it's clickbaity stuff, right? They got to fill the news 24-hour news cycle, and coming up with fake magic money versus real life is just, I mean, how many of those, what is it, Screen Rant and comicbooknews.com or something like that produces a bunch of those bullshit articles, like they produce like dozens, if not hundreds of those articles all day long, and I'm just like, nope. Why Superman could beat Homelander? It's like, oh my god. Clickbait mostly only works because it gets picked up by the almighty algo, which is the main thing behind the whole dead internet theory. Yep, BS gets boosted and real people stuff gets suppressed. Yep. Yeah, we're in control of the algos, and algorithms are fueled by dopamine. It's unfortunate, but yeah. As a culture, we've started treating all information like an iPhone agreement. We just click accept and get back to scrolling. Yeah, you're right. Because how many people really read those? And I'm guilty of that. I don't. Those 30-page, 6, 7, 8 point font sized. Read this. Click, and you're just like, fuck. Though it is with watching that CNN story to watch Don Lemon tear into it live. Yeah. We don't have any of those classic trusted journalists who were trusted because of their journalistic integrity. We don't have that any longer. Yeah. Oh, you get those too? Mike says, ugh, if I see another alpha male bearskin ad and with bear, B-A-E-R, yeah, I'm going to crush my phone. It's like, you're not a insert noun. You're a man. It's advertising plus clickbait behavior aimed at grievance fueled by boys, not men. Yep, I get the same thing. Now I do get the bearskins. Mine are like, oh, what's the name of the thing? They have names like Manly Dis or Manly D and Royatama and there's some other brands out there. I don't get the, you live in a colder region, right? you live in the hat of United States. I'm just picking with you, but I get the t-shirts and shorts thing, but it's the exact same thing. Dudes roided out with like just enough facial hair to make their jaw just square enough, and they're always looking to the side or staring at their phone, and the skin is glistening with like the super veiny forearms, and it's like, it is almost telling me like, you're not a real man until you're wearing this. And it's true. Yeah, it's like my thing about the whole clickbaity gender war, male female gender war. I'm like, people are having the gender war is creating so much hate between the genders that it will literally unbreed a generation of people, right? No one wants to date you if you've got hate in your heart. You can feel it off your skin. Why does anybody even want to talk to you? For any reason. I don't care what gender you are. If you're sitting there spouting hate about the other gender, how come they don't like you and you can't find anybody and it sucks and blah, blah, blah. I'm almost like, nobody wants to listen to that. That's literally anti-human contact behavior and thoughts. You want to find somebody? Be nice. Be happy. And if they're unhappy, shrug and go move to the next person. That's how you do it. Jesus, it's so easy. It's like, find somebody that's just effed up as much as you. That's how you find it. You find somebody compatible that's going like, what am I interested in? What are they interested in? And who gives a shit what they look like and how they, whatever. Find somebody that matches with you, and don't hold yourself back because of their I don't know, the dumbest things that you can find and go like, oh, there's somebody better out there because I don't like the way they, I don't know, put the cap on the toothpaste or some, not even things like that, the way they wear their shoes and clothing and their hairstyles. Like that bullshit can change in an instant. I cut my hair, I'm just the same person as I was before. T says, actually, if you look, you will see there are instances, but you don't ever hear the news talk about it. Like it won't get clicks. There's a lot of that. They've all, listen, back in the day, they used to try like the good news channels. Those, they never worked. I mean, they work temporarily, but whatever. Shai says, DBJ, not true. People in the UK are mad as hell about migrant workers from Romania, Albania, Poland, etc. All white as that. I'm sorry, I was making a reference. I should have been more specific to the United States, because we are the proverbial melting pot, and people keep failing to realize like your ancestors are visitors. Like all of us, the vast majority of us are visitors from somewhere else and came here displacing other people, whether we were forced to or by choice. It's so weird. It's weird, like you do realize that, right? Like, go back where you came from. You're literally talking about yourself. It's wild. You're talking about your grandparents and stuff. Yeah. But if you spread a story about someone that is of a darker skin tone, then they will write endless stories. And oftentimes, the thing that annoys me about that is, it's, let me make this personal. Whenever a crime is committed by a postal worker, they always call them a postal worker in the article. If it's not, they don't necessarily name their profession. They'll go, lone gunman does this thing. But if it's a postal worker, they automatically put postal worker. And unfortunately, in a lot of these stories, if it's a person of is this just a stateside thing? If it's a person of a darker tone, it will become an emphasized element to spread that story. It's why blonde-haired, blue-eyed children that get lost are more people rally around their disappearance and loss than you start going darker toned skins of children, because people just don't care. And it's not necessarily overt hate. It's, we have siloed ourselves and cultivated our way away from things, that the more people are other, the less we draw attention or even care about that thing. Even though those people are the same citizens, have the same desires, want the same protections, have the same dreams and goals for their same families, who are trying to just do the same things, there are lots of people who just shrug their shoulders and go, they're not like me. And not out of hate, out of like, well, I wouldn't relate to that, so I'm going to turn it off. It's like movies. What was a movie a while ago? Crazy Rich Asians. Crazy Rich Asians, wife and I, we really love that movie. Some people wouldn't see that movie simply because they're like, well, what do I have in common with people that are crazy, people that are rich, and people that are Asian? It's TA says, it's a lot like how you don't see stories about the cop who rescued a cat from a tree because it won't get many readers, but a bad cop beating someone down or shooting them gets all the headlines. And right, and what happens is it perpetuates itself, right? The good cops get over, what would you call it? There's an overemphasis of the bad cops, and the bad cop makes it bad for the good cops, right? And then, and then that cycle gets turned. Like, I mean, I've had the cops called on me so many times, it's crazy. And in the neighborhood I deliver mail in Bexley, like, I know these cops half by name, all of them by sight, because people called the cops on me because I was doing my job. But a bunch of rich people, I delivered multi-million-dollar homes in my job, and in the beginning they've called, like, and I could kind of tell which people did it because I could see like the guilt on them, because I make a lot of money in tips and things like that. But yeah, there's people who are just like, he's the black dude, he doesn't belong here. Like, that's the automatic assumption, and they just called the cops on me, and the cops knew it. Like, none of those cops are just like, you need to stop and come down. They've never done that. I've been to so many. I live very close to where I deliver mail, like it's like a 10-minute, 15-minute drive. So I go to like a lot of the festivals there. They're going to have fireworks display for 4th of July, Independence Day, and I go to those, and the cops are there, and they're like, "Hey, what's going on?" and stuff like that. So I know them, and yeah, a number of them have stopped me in my career and just been like, "Hey, what's going on, Jackson?" And I'm fine. And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the same thing." Yeah, okay. They just want to make sure you're all right. Yeah, I'm cool. I know why they know why they got called and why they stopped me, and I know why they did it. And they just kind of like, "You're all right. Have a great one." I'm like, "Thanks." But yeah, it happened. It's happened so many times. It's crazy. I don't know, 30, 40. Yeah, especially when I first got the route. I think 7, 8, 9 years ago, something like that. Oh yeah, it was like every month, every couple of weeks. Yeah. They were talking about fair-skinned immigrants. Those dozen or so pale mofos from South Africa were imported in for some press shoots to show that we've solved immigration. It's so funny. Yeah. That's funny. True debate based depending on population distribution. That's true. Even when places like Cali pass laws against U.S. tricks, I don't know what that stands for. If you report it to the governor, won't enforce the laws they pass, just ignore them. Well, yeah, no. Every state is going to do their thing, right? Like you can't. What is it? In the United States, we kind of think of like California as one extreme, Texas is another extreme, Florida is another extreme, Chicago itself in Illinois. New York City itself is an extreme, and then we use that as a litmus test for like how laws are passed or how things are enforced. And it's like they got a high population, but that's not exactly how the rest of the nation works. But we do that a lot. Like half of Texas is California. Let's be honest. It's crazy. Yeah. Interesting how the whole stereotype of Romanian gypsies all being thieves and such. But I had not heard of Polish people being so considered. Russian mafia, yep. Callous compared to even Italian mafia, yep. Yeah, stereotypes and things like that, but then people fall into stereotypes. It's about the victim Olympics, yeah. Irish factor in there too, and in Europe there's, yep. Yeah, absolutely. Actually, if you dig deep, you will find, I don't know, Carolyn Borensikov. Yeah, it's always great to have an enemy. Yep, it's always great to have enemies because enemies fuel dopamine, and it's better to point at the other as the enemy and just replace one enemy with another when things get old, and then you just don't see you don't see what's going on behind the screen. Also, a lot of outrage over illegal immigrants is about bringing people here to make a slave class of them for cheap labor too. Anyone going further would be dig it. Yeah. Or they talk about going postal, which is very much is a much better Terry Pratchett story than stereotype. Yeah. It just happens that the postal service has a large population of people that work for it, 600, 700,000 people. But they go crazy at other institutions. It's just a very easy, like, hey, let's layer this thing on top of a thing to describe it. Yeah. Right. And what ends up happening, like we know statistically, even though the media won't do it, that most crime happens from people that look like yourself. So, and there's a larger population of crime happening of I'll say fairer skinned people here in the US than other groups, but it's easier to make people scared of the other when it's like, no, your neighbor's probably going to be the one that's going to rob you or have violence against you or something like that. Yep. It also normalizes the bad behavior. Yep. Almost, and also we have what is it? What's the thing called? A fallacy that if the othering of people are bad, that means we're good. Yeah, exactly. I hear you, Shy Squad. Yeah, we get demoted and talk about that kind of stuff. TA says, "Yep, unless it's particularly heinous, like some serial killer leaving ripped bodies apart, they only care about anything else if it's between two different groups that compete each other against each other." Exactly. Like there's no despite the exact number or large. For example, poor white people have as much violence against them by cops as darker skin tone people here in the States, and you don't see a correlation between that, despite the fact that just like you can literally find like public videos of like cops and stuff like that. If you're poor and white, you're basically a dark skinned person here in the States, and nobody wants to make that correlation at all. It's crazy. Although the reality is the people that live in those situations do make a correlation because they understand. There's a lot of black people that live in like poor white neighborhoods, and like a lot of white people live in poor black neighborhoods, for as an example, and other immigrant neighborhoods, whether like the South of the United States, whether it's the Central and South America and things like that, and those neighborhoods and stuff. And like if you live there, they're like, shit, you're at a low point just like the rest of us. You ain't no different. We ain't different than you, right? That's usually how it really works in reality. But the news like to have that like that animosity. But people in bad situations, they don't have time to hate on that level. They don't have the luxury to hate on that level. Shay says, DBJ, they call the cops on you just for being black walking around in super rich neighborhoods? Oh yeah. Oh no, I've had that. I've had a complaint. This is, mind you, this is about a dozen years ago. I had a complaint made against me because a lady said that her regular letter carrier wasn't there, and she used a lot of inflammatory words, N-words and other stuff you would call black people that are subhuman. And she wrote this in a complaint. Now, mind you, the Postal Service didn't read the complaint. It just had a complaint at the top. And then I was brought into the office about this complaint. And I was just like, okay, what's this about? Well, we have it was one of those form things. They printed out, we need to find out and solve what the problem is. And then my supervisor, who actually ended up becoming a relative of mine, by the way, strange. But anyway, supervisor was reading it, and she was like, oh, and I was like, she stopped, and I was like, can I read that? And she's like, I don't think you want to read this. And I was like, give it here. And I started reading it, and I was like, who sent this? Because it was filled with all kinds of N-words and blah, 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 and blah, this spook, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. I want my regular it was a whole thing. And I was just like, bunch of racist white folks. And mind you, they crumpled it up and threw it away and said, don't worry about it. But my point was, they didn't even read it. And this person put out a, dare I say, document that would be read by other people and felt like, oh, that was okay to say that. And we have people doing that on social media right now. And I'm just like, you do real... Anyway, they're lucky that I'm a nice person. Because, there's a bunch of people that... There's something my grandfather once told me that's pretty horrible. And he lived by it because of that. It's like that Dem Mayor winner who's actively communist talking about taking money from successful businesses to fund businesses that will undercut them. That's clickbait. Not clickbaity stuff, but there's people who believe that kind of thing. If he was really wanting to fix things like food prices, he would say, we will stop taxing food and the companies that sell food as long as they pass that savings on to you. Well, you're not going to stop big business, right? It's going to be it's going to be the what is it? The proletariat that pays for it. Was it proletariat versus bourgeoisie? Anyway, like the bank bailouts over the housing markets, if they really want to solve the issue, they give the money to the house owners to pay the banks instead of directly giving the bank. Yep. Save the rich. It's just people being scumbags because our world societies reward that behavior while punishing good behavior. Yep. No good. Yeah, no good deed goes unpunished. I say that all the time. I say that all the time. Yeah. What was it? Monday, we were in triple digit Fahrenheit heat wave, and like half of our people didn't show up for work, and our bosses are like, we have to figure out how to get this mail delivered, blah blah blah. And I was like, it ain't an emergency to me. I'm gonna do what I can do, but you're not gonna stress me out because other people didn't show up and you're not gonna do nothing about it. That's whatever. It was like those people at CNN said they had to take down a death counter for COVID. Yeah. Happy about watching it. Yep. I mean, that's what news is now, right? Everybody's talking about, and CNN isn't the only one. All the news stations are clickbaiting you. That's why I said everybody thinks that their news story, their news source of choice is the correct one and everybody else is wrong. Yeah. Yeah. But people don't know about like the Tulsa massacre, Rosewood, redlining, hell, shit, my community in Hampton, Virginia, stuff like that. And there's many of them. People don't talk about how many like black communities were flooded. No one wants to know about that. No one wants to feel guilty because of what their ancestors did. Maybe, I mean, because when I say maybe, it's like maybe your ancestors didn't have anything to do with it. But people just don't want to feel guilty, so they want to erase, like they're bringing back all of the they're erasing all the people of color in the military and their histories and stuff like that. It's like, why is your ego that paper thin that you got to make people look that good? It's so wild. It was also sad how the postal delivery guy is who some people yell at about their package being lost in the mail and not the myriad issues that can cause one to be lost. Oh no, they pretty much blame me all the time. They want me to be their dog's best friend and all this kind of bullshit. It sounds like that person with the complaint might have been crazy. I mean, you would have to be a brain tumor to write a bunch of racial slurs. No. People feel like they have people are encouraged now to be themselves. And whatever that self is today is being promoted by other people who also have the same feelings. So it's not crazy. It's just people are just feel safe being open about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I've gone on. I've spouted too much of my own beliefs today, but yeah. I mean, it's hip. I don't mind people thinking differently. I just don't mind. What I don't like is the hypocrisy of people who think differently. Right? If you're going to have a hate or a desire to solve something, or those people are the bad guys, I'm like, okay, well, let's look at your dissertation holistically. And that's my problem. My problem is even people that are like have fundamentally different modes of thinking, I think are being distracted by an even more horrific thing above them. In our country, it's sticks and carrots. One political party is using sticks, meaning like it's hate and anger and is a great fuel for dopamine. And then the other political party is all about carrots. What can you get? What can I give you? What can I pacify you with? What's going to make you happy? I'm going to make you happy by taking it from other people. And that's kind of what our political system is. You can guess which side is which. I guess some people call it bread and circuses as well, where the circuses are the gladiatorial violence, the expulsion, the ability to express anger and hatred towards groups of people or policies or things like that, unmitigated. And then there's the bread, where it's like, I'm going to feed you and clothe you and house you, and I'm going to wrap you in a soft blanket, and don't worry, you're going to be okay. I don't care who you are. We're going to make you a group that we're going to cherish and pat you on the back and tell you that you're special. And that's what basically our two political parties do to incite you to believe in them. And I hate it. I can't stand it. This is kind of what Eli points out, how companies are racist, but to display in ways you can't tell. Yep, making sure not to notify a group of people they don't want to hire about job openings and stuff. Yeah, yep. Hey, gotta head out. Hey, you guys have a great one. Thank you very much for the show. I think there's a subject that I just found our last 20 minutes or so that I think you'll find pretty interesting tomorrow. I always do that, where I try to find a nugget of something for the next day, and I think we're going to find out about it. And I'm gonna flip it on its head too, because I think it's going to be kind of funny. I'm gonna flip it on its head. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I see something like that. But a lot of that stuff is very easy too, right? People are human beings are very comfortable in and around things that they find familiar. And it could very easily translate to, well, I don't like the unfamiliar, which comes across as mimicking the traits of true hatred. But really what it is people, we have the ability to very easily curtail what we like that's comfortable and not comfortable. And so, unfortunately, appearance, culture, language, skin tone, gender, hell, region that you live in, a political party is, I find this comfortable, I'm going to use my algorithm because I find everything else uncomfortable. And then the person who is the other goes, well, wait a minute, that excludes me. And that's how that happens. People unconsciously will not consider other people that are not like them. And that's why we have rules for corrections and stuff like that, because people will do that. That's why you have what's the rule in sports? Not Weingarten. Sports rule. No. Let's see. The rule that I'm gonna find something. There we go. Before I get out of here, in professional, in the NFL here in the United States, we had a rule here, and I want to point something out. They have been saying that. We like to say that about every other country that's trying to, that we don't like, that's coming up with nuclear weapons. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but whatever. But I want to bring up a rule. I'm not going to post it up here. There's a Rooney Rule back in the NFL, and this is why the Rooney Rule existed. And I think it actually is a good template for other things. But for those who don't know, there's been a Rooney Rule in the NFL. Back in 2003. The Rooney Rule is an NFL policy that requires teams to interview minority candidates for head coaching and other senior football operations positions. It was established in 2003 to promote diversity in a league historically criticized for a lack of minority representation in coaching and leadership roles. There was a strange outcome to this. It was named after former Pittsburgh Steelers owner Dan Rooney, who championed the effort to pass the rule. The purpose to increase representation of minorities, particularly in head coaching and front office positions. The requirement was initially it mandated interviewing at least one minority candidate for head coaching vacancies. It has since evolved to require interviews with multiple minority candidates for various coaching executive positions. Here's the impact. While the rule has led to an increase in minority representation, it has also faced scrutiny. Exactly. with some arguing that teams have conducted sham interviews simply to comply with the policy without a genuine intent to hire. What actually happened when they instituted the Rooney Rule was that more minority coaching came about because of the Rooney Rule, because they interviewed people they normally wouldn't. Then it fell off because of the access of people who had the proper skills. So it wasn't a quota. It was, you need to interview some of these people you normally wouldn't, because comfort, right? It's not hatred. It's just, sometimes it's comfort. And to break out of your comfort zone, they were like, no, you need to interview some other people. And then they realized, you know what? Now that we did interview these people, now we found out that they have the skills to do that thing. And it's a Rooney Rule. Now, it's different than a quota. It was never like you must hire. But what happened was the hiring, it spiked up because they realized that some of these people who should have been coaching staff and executive staff should have been there. And then eventually now that they got used to doing that they now aren't accidentally finding good people. Those good people are now being interviewed despite the Rooney Rule. So that's just an example of a real thing. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I know we got a little bit political here, but whatever. If you don't like it, that's okay. I mean, there's other places to go and see. If it's something you do like, I don't know if I'll stick with it, but I do find that those things, impassion me. So we may talk about something similar. I have something similar tomorrow. It's going to be sci-fi related. So I think you'll enjoy it when we start talking about it tomorrow. But until then, everyone have a great day. Thank you very much for your brilliance, your everybody who is a part of the show. I suppose I should be promoting you guys as co-hosts of the show, because I think you are. And I really love it. So be out there, be different, be yourself. Question the things that you see around you, because a dead internet. We didn't dive too deeply into a dead internet, but yeah, that theory out there, anecdotally, kind of true. It's kind of weird. So anyway, everybody have a great one. I'll see thee later. I agree. It wasn't that political as things go. I agree. Yeah. Oh, I had a friend of mine. It was is an ex-police officer. He used to have to do those things. TA says quotas, like for cops to write tickets, are from bad supervisors that can't trust their workers to do their job and think it will force them to do. Yep. I one of my best friends, he used to be a police officer. He's a graphic designer now. Yeah, they had to increase patrol and scrutiny and things like that. They used euphemisms for it, about writing more and more tickets and stuff. Yeah. Here in Ohio, we used to have two towns. One was called Bryce, and the other one was called New Rome, and they were eliminated because of over-ticketing. Yeah, it was they were eliminated by the federal government because they were over-ticketing to pay for city services and things of that nature. Oh yeah, it was well known that those were like high-ticket alleys for a very long time. Yeah, look it up. Maybe I'll do a spotlight on that tomorrow as well. New Rome and Bryce, the city of Bryce, are two examples. Both at opposite ends, one far east of the city and one far west. It's kind of funny that it happened that way. But so anyway, guys, have a great one. I'll see you later. Peace and tranquility, and have an absolutely great day. Bye.